Whoa, now y'all was handling with the world shamans and them foul shot reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network. Not really knowing what to call this. Haven't dropped in a few days, so I'm going to freestyle this one off the dome. We got some, trending world events. I guess as of last night, Iran bombed, so say, 3 nuclear reactors. But my thing is, if you hit 3 nuclear reactors, wouldn't they explode and then cause a nuclear fallout? Man, whatever, man. I think they did hit something, maybe some missile silos, something to that effect, and probably gonna provocate war or these various sleeper cells, which doesn't make sense in the whole immigration thing. And I've said this myself. Let's say I was a quote unquote terror organization. Why not I just get my people to Mexico and then use the cartel, get them over here, and y'all chill till I give y'all the word? None of it makes any sense. But it does make sense in the sense of prophecy and the globalist, new agey kind of doctrine of creating order out of chaos or a new world emerging out of the ashes of an old one. So what does this mean to me? Absolutely positively nothing. One, let's say today they start nuclear whatever. What I'm gonna do about it? And I was talking to my partner last night, right? And I intellectualize myself. And as I talked about on here, I've been moved out of that space because you can't intellectualize things of the spirit once you come to understand that whatever's going on in the material, physical world has a spiritual epicenter to it. You can't outsmart it. Like even in like these, like I've been moved past like doctrinal differences, um, you know, a whole bunch of intellectual arguments that ultimately don't lead to any type of course of action. We're just debating. When has talking ever solved a problem or give you an epiphany of how to do something unless the talk is leading to the implementation of a course of action or a solution? Everybody just talking, but their circumstances ain't changed. And necessarily my circumstances haven't changed. It's just now through the obedience, things have been added unto me. So the circumstances have changed because the spiritual eyes I've been given to view said situation has changed. So what would be the evidence of, my growth, transformation, whatever the case may be? The fact that I'm able to endure gracefully hardships that I would have probably uh, tried to skate through or sidestep or whatever. It ain't no way, like, you can go around and all that, but some stuff you just gotta go through it. Because going through it gives you the experience, the wisdom, the knowledge to then once you come out on the other side, you're able to handle more weight. So I'm not necessarily praying for an easy life, just the strength, discipline, courage to endure whatever. Make me none. What I'm gonna do? No, please don't. No, man, we're not doing all that. And my thing is this, and I kind of, with the wars of rumors of wars, tariffs, rumors of tariffs, just get jiggy already and get it over with. But what they're doing, and I think with the inoculations as well, they're keeping everybody in a sense of a heightened state of anxiety, fear, which does chip away at your peace. It does chip away at your immune system. It robs you of the gift of the present moment. You know what I'm saying? And my partner Rick helped me with, living principally and staying in the present moment. You know what I'm saying? And if you do things in the present moment, it should, doing the right thing for the right reason, it should put you on a path to ultimately your destiny, whatever you're called to do, whatever the case may be. You can't cheat the grind, the spiritual grind. You know what I'm saying? You can't speed it up either, but you can do like me and delay it. So I ain't tripping. I don't care. Like, I mean, my partner was talking about, like, well, what did he say? Something to the effect of other people's opinions. I guess everybody cares what other people think about them to some degree, but my life isn't lived based on, well, if I do this, these people might get mad. To thine own self be true. Frederick Douglass had a quote saying something to the effect of, I'd rather, basically run afoul of the world or I basically run afoul of the world and look in the mirror and be all right with me than the flip side of it. And the world love me, but I can't stand me when I get behind closed doors and see myself in the mirror. I understand this is kind of inverted rhetoric for the culture and time that we live in when everybody seems to be socially codependent. Um, you know, my value is tied into what I'm able to maintain materially. Mine is on the flip side. My confidence, if you want to call it that, has come from all the things I've been allowed to go through, then endure gracefully. And even when I make a mistake, not outright, oh, I know I shouldn't do this and do it anyway, because I'm very fearful of that, because I know better now. When you know better, you do better. But my thing is, I don't care. I don't, I just don't care. Why should I? And can't nobody explain to me why I should. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of my superpowers is the ability to walk away from anything and live by faith, whether it be, attachment socially wise, job wise. I've talked about maybe 6 months ago on here where I felt like I was in the space of being led by the Spirit. And in this time where everything's uncertain, you can't discern who's who. And I really don't have time to test the Spirit by the Spirit because I'm not really around people long enough. You know what I'm saying? I keep myself kind of purposely insulated, or how the words say, a wise man perceiveth evil and hideth himself, not in fear, but in wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really have to do that. And if I did, I would just discern that kind of automatically, because my spirit is always operating as a background app. You know what I'm saying? So let's say I wake up tomorrow and say, hey, my spirit, like when right before they set the lockdowns, I wasn't, and they had all that stuff going on TV. I already knew what the play was, so I wasn't, oh, okay, whatever. But I woke up, I'll never forget, I woke up that Saturday morning and something said, it's time to get out of Dodge. And I left Baltimore City for a more rural part of Maryland. 2 weeks later, they locked down the cities. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't thinking about that the night before. I just woke up with that on my spirit. Or when I was dating a young lady, I woke up that morning, I said, man, something ain't right. Yo, I think shouted pass, yo. And she technically did, but she had OD'd. I didn't know that part till later on, but I felt it in my spirit. So typically, as I was, talking to my partner last night, you can't intellectualize things of the spirit, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's probably not going to make no sense to you, because it's coming from another sense that you can't perceive with your five senses. You know what I mean? So again, I'm more so like I've gotten out of strategizing life to a certain degree. I do what I do on a daily basis to put myself in the best position possible, holistically, financially, family, physically, spiritually, so on and so forth. And at that time, I will be led. How's it said in the word? Those who are called the sons of God are led by the Spirit of God. So my spirit is quite cool. You know what I'm saying? And, when it's time to move, the Spirit will move me, as it's moved me along this journey. Like I was thinking about, even before my awakening, I was always kind of awakened, but my proclivity, such as drinking, bars, it kind of kept me in the matrix to some degree, right? But even the path to, my destruction to ultimately be reconstructed, I really feel like the Most High, how, like they say in the word, he caused Pharaoh to harden his heart, like he made Pharaoh heart hardened for his own purpose. In certain instances where these people have now passed away, I think he made me like them people, because my attachment to those people at the time was going to put me on a path that he had me to go. Or I got another one for you, where out of nowhere, I just started dreaming about, I want to go to North Carolina. He wanted me to go to North Carolina, put that desire in me, so when the door was open, I went through it. Now, especially in this space, and I don't know how you gain this other than wherever you at with it, just try to do right by right purposes. Like I've been learned about fasting or, things of that nature. But then all of a sudden I felt moved to do it. You see what I'm saying? Like I was telling my partner, I don't know how much I've learned anything. I just discover what I learned after the fact when I feel led to move to do something. Or like how I felt led to quit a job with no other job. But then before that, I had to do an interview for the job I'm at now. Now I already got a job. So what's the purpose of doing another interview? Just for practice? But my spirit led me to do that. Later on, my spirit led me to quit the first job I had, and then this job came through. But there was no guarantee on any of that. And you do go through the uncertainty. Was that the right call? Did I do it right? Am I perceiving things correctly? You won't know. Wisdom, you can't prove wisdom until down the road. You see what I'm saying? Or how I feel led to not engage with the world, so say. So what's the evidence that that's the right call? I'm at perfect peace. I don't have anybody attempting to bamboozle me or impose themselves in my life or subtly, plant seeds of doubt or whatever the case may be. And I've actually had that happen since I started this YouTube channel, where people will present themselves a certain way. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I've been waiting, so I really believe can't nobody outwait me. So, naturally, you're going to see who people are, even if you haven't met them, throughout the discourse of time. So they say, whatever. And then it kind of like, what they mean by that? Okay, well, I can't tell. We'll play it out. We'll see. You know what I mean? Now I no longer talk to any of them people. And I wish them the best, but, like, especially after, I believe this, if you're chosen, and I think we're all called to do in the body of Yeshua, the foot has a different function from the hand, the tendon got a different function from the fingernail, whatever the case may be. But please be on guard for those presenting themselves as an angel of light, but really working for the other side, such as these, and I've been on these people lately, these Hebrew Israelite groups who come with the truth, but they're baiting you into organized control. They don't, how Paul said, I can prophesy I'm paraphrasing, I can prophesy to the cows come home and, raise the dead. But if I had not love, it's all clanging noise, you know what I'm saying? Do these people, like, okay, I'm a leader, right? And I understand this when I started understanding leadership, right? I'm responsible for everybody, that's subject to me or wherever the case may be. So I'm looking at my view, it's not from an ego or control, because I have no desire to control nobody. I'm like, God, he can control you, but he don't want you. He wants you to submit out of reverence. Because of my attributes, you bow down. Not because I'm forcing you to do it. And if I'm all powerful, I don't care. Like, I guess he do, but like if I'm all powerful, I don't feel the need to show my power until I feel like doing it. You know what I'm saying? But in these, like, and I notice a lot of organizational things, whether it's the social hierarchy, control, the competitions and all that. I don't care about none of that. I got my own power, which comes from being attached to the vine. I was just reading that today before I got my day started. You have no power outside of the vine. If I abide in you, and you and me and we in the Father, I'm paraphrasing y'all, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? I ain't got no power. And the only power I got has been bestowed upon me by submitting to the journey that he set forth that I want nothing to do with because it made no sense. And then years later, I see the wisdom now and the ability to apply said wisdom when I've never had that ability to do that. How's it worded? If you go through endurance and endurance producing patience, or I might got them flip-flop, but then you'll be complete, lacking nothing. So if I'm complete or on a path thereof, what am I worried about the world? And that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be confusing. You know what I'm saying? Especially here in Babylon, they're supposed to be harlot. It wouldn't be Babylon if we weren't seeing what's going on in the quote-unquote dating game. I've been moved. It don't even make me mad. It's supposed to do that. It's supposed to get worse. The key is to not get wrapped up in it by staying on the narrow path that seems to be like it's getting narrower. But then if the path is getting narrower, I might have to cast off some weight. You see what I'm saying? Or I've been able to carry this weight for this long, but to squeeze through here, I'm going to have to cast this off, such as my own wisdom and understanding. Because I think I'm smart. But my intelligence ain't never got me out of nothing. It was all his mercy. And you know what I'm saying? So that gets me out of, and I've talked about on here, like what I want to see happen, when I want to see it happen. When do I get to experience this or hit this proverbial breakthrough or whatever? Just like, is that Hebrews 12 where it talk about all the people who didn't get the promises here on earth and they still stayed down? Everybody, I mean, the whole leaving your hometown talking point. I've tried to do it. Well, this ain't necessarily my hometown. It's about 30 minutes away. But it's still the same general geographical area. As I talked about, tried to do that numerous times and it wasn't permitted. So much so, I done stopped. Now, if it presents itself, I'll take it. Or I'll pray about it and then move on to whatever the case may be. Do I like being here? It's all right. I got what I got going on here. But I would like to move just for the newness of things, new experience, so on and so forth. But that might happen later on, might not happen at all. But either which way, I'm cool with it. Because I've been able to come alive in the drop in a place where I have a significant amount of user history and have no temptation to do none of that. I've been now I had to go away first to Baltimore, got brought back, which wasn't in my plan, and now I'm able to operate, or I'm no longer held to a former version of myself. Because if anybody being Christ, they're a new creation. That would be the practicality of that particular spiritual verse. And I'm in no danger of relapsing or doing anything behaviorally that I ain't been doing for a momentary feeling when I know it opens me up to long-term liability, and I'm not in the business of taking on liabilities because it's not wise. You know what I'm saying? And because the journey's been so long, I'm very protective of the attributes that I've been given because now I see the value in it. So I value the journey. I value the hardship. Do it feel good? Of course not. But I see what it produced. So now I don't duck no hardship. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Because I know it's something in it for me that makes me better. That makes me better in the eyesight of the Most High. Really, that's the only thing I'm concerned with. Even like, say, in reference to my child, where rah, 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 and they put on my spirit like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm ever adapting and evolving. It's not about you doing what I want you to do. It's about the desired outcome, which is your growth and development. Now, I will deploy whatever tactic that I believe will get to that point. But it ain't just about you listening to me and all that. And technically, even if it is your child, woman, significant other, whatever, you can't control them. And control is actually, my belief, comes from deep-rooted insecurity. You know what I'm saying? I control me. You know what I'm saying? And I attempt to exhibit some level of control what goes on around me. And if I don't like what goes on around me, I've got enough, leverage that I just walk away instead of arguing about why you should do better. You might not want to do better. And we ain't finna talk about it. If I don't see you do better, I'm gone. I don't feel like talking. I noticed the more I've been work-oriented, not just for a job, but in my personal life, spiritual life, emotionally, so on and so forth. The more work I put in, the less I talk. I'd rather have my work, my character, do the talking for me. Because typically when people are trying to convince you of who they are, they're trying to sell you something. Like if I say, I don't know, like I cut people off. I'm not going to keep saying that. Just put me in the right position and you'll just see me do it. And I've noticed this, especially in the inversion of Babylon, whereas though, you might say this is who you are, this is what you believe. And then when they see the evidence of what you're talking about, they actually get mad with you. How dare you be what you said when everybody else is perpetrating and pump faking a fraud? What do you mean you're not wearing a mask? How can you be authentically you and be all right with you? Well, for me, it was through hardship, suffering, and just going through the journey. I remember when I got this job here, somebody asked me, was I going to cut my bid? I said, no. If they don't accept me for who I am, I don't want to work there. Well, what else you going to do? I don't know. Pray like I've been praying. Because I've been known for the last decade how I'm going to make it. And I ain't got to this point. And on top of it, it had to be ordained by the Most High. Because either one or two things happen when you go through things. I mean, of course, you go through emotions depending on, what the circumstance is. But after a period of time, it should make you better. It should make you wiser. What I'm saying is people go through situations, go through bitterness, and that might be, a component of it in the initial phase. But now 5 years have gone past and you still bitter. You haven't grown from it. You haven't accepted it. You haven't let it go. So more of my content that I've been checking out here recently is just more on spiritual, personal development. I check out, like I checked out some of that, but I don't really care about I don't care about P. Diddy. I don't care what Iran do. I just don't. They're going to do it anyway, and I can't stop them. And I'm not meant to stop because they're permitted to do this. I just do what I know I'm supposed to do as I'm led by the Spirit and let the chips fall where they may. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all, baby. One love. Ooh, ah.